Good evening, meat suits. Welcome to Read It and Weep, a podcast about movies and friendship. This is season 5, Kevin Bacon's Exquisite Corpse, the penultimate episode, the dual, whatever that is, the triple ultimate episode of season 5. We're just 4 abandoned penguins who just made a fucked up friend, and we are playing a very long movie watching game this year, lasting all of 2022. I'm your host, Alex Falcone, recording as I often do from North Koreatown in Los Angeles, and I am joined by a very special panel of misfits. First up, he's at Anthony Lopez Part 2 on Twitter. He's in Southeast Portland, and as you know, a penguin is a bird that cannot fly, but he is a man with a name, and that name is Anthony Lopez.
Alex, it's great to be here. I was just looking up. Christopher Walken has been in 93 movies.
Wow.
93 movies over his long career. Very impressive. But only
Best
one
and worst.
movie. Only one movie of those 93s can you easily say Christopher Walken has like the fourth weirdest, most out there performance in it.
He really doesn't.
There's only one
out
movie that he is willing to be the most normal person in the film for, and that is this great movie we're talking about today. So I'm excited.
It's true. His hair is by far the weirdest portion of his performance here. Everything else is pretty much on.
Well, that, and he has the ultimate cinematic "My Big Dumb Boy." He has the best "My Big Dumb Son" that's ever been in a movie.
He does
We're
have a
going to talk
big
about this,
dumb
but
boy,
that
doesn't he?
relationship, one of my favorite things in this movie.
I want the list of least weird Christopher Walken movies, though. Right? Like, where is he?
Yeah.
Where is he the most normal
You
Walken?
can't rank
Well,
by the weirdness of
like-
performance on many websites.
Well, no, it's easy. It's Joe Dirt, his most normal, down the middle, average movie he ever made. Right?
I don't even remember
Like,
him being
was he in the
that.
Hairspray? Also, I feel like he had a pretty he was
Yeah,
not
he
the
was-
weirdest part of Hairspray.
He was in the Hairspray remake. He with John Travolta playing the mother's role, the divine poet.
Can you
Oh, yeah,
imagine
okay.
having to direct Christopher Walken to be a normal person?
That
Can you
would
imagine how
yeah.
annoying that
Yeah.
must be?
Do you? So
Well-
you think he's default weird? You don't think these are all like it's not like a consistent acting
I just
choice that
think-
he makes every time to be wild?
It's almost
Well-
like a sketch. Like I feel like it's like you have him say something normal, and then he says it in his Christopher Walken voice, and you're like, no. I don't think you understand.
Oh,
Take it down, Christopher.
I have-
Not that.
You guys have heard that, like, when Christopher Walken when you send him scripts, what he asks for is you take out all the punctuation from his dialogue. He will decide
Yeah.
where the stops are. Yeah, he doesn't
Yeah.
want you telling him, like,
No,
he doesn't want to see those exclamation points or those
fascist
commas.
commas.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like imagine writing for him. Like you have to,
Yeah.
like he's going to take it and like, I don't care how you wrote it, where you
Wild.
put those pauses. I decide where I pause.
So just to the ranking by popularity of Christopher Walken films, according to Letterboxd, it has Pulp Fiction, Catch Me If You Can, and Batman Returns in the top 3, and the bottom 3 are something called A Late Quartet, which it looks like he's a cellist along with Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Whoa.
2013.
That sounds great.
Let's check
And
this out.
just all I can see is this poster, but and Catherine Keener. But they're playing themselves. I don't know. It
That sounds
looks
amazing.
That looks pretty solid. And then something called Night of 100 Stars 3 and Tienes Ferme tu Coron.
It's pretty amazing that like Pulp Fiction is a movie with an incredibly stacked cast.
Yeah.
And he's only in one scene of it. And he's like, to have a movie that you pop from so far when you only have one scene in
Yeah.
a movie where you should
Yeah.
just be like,
Up
I mean,
his
that's the
ass.
power of
I
Christopher
hear it in
Walken.
my head all the time. Up his ass.
Yeah.
He hit it up his ass. That's all I think about.
I love.
So give me the watch. Yeah, that line might be one of the best line readings in film history.
Give me the watch.
I'm not a big Pulp Fiction fan, but so give me to watch. It's just that is the part of that movie that is so seared.
On the Walken readings, one of my favorite things that Caleb did when he was maybe like 2 or 3 years old is he had some intonation that was very Walken-esque. I don't know how it happened, but like
Yeah.
so he was obsessed with this Sesame Street thing where it talked about Humpty Dumpty, and so he'd say at some points like, "So what happened to Mr. Dumpty?" And we explained to him, and like he was like, "Oh well, it was Humpty Dumpty. He was on the wall, right? You know, like what was it? He in this one
Great
he like
fall.
played football. He got hurt.
Mm.
They put him back together. They gave him like an egg carton like helmet, and he was happy. He was like, but what happened to Mr. Dumpty? And like, just we obsessed about this over and over again, and I loved it so much.
Oh, that's so
awesome.
good. Also joining us, let's continue on this panel. He's the co-host of the Old Gamers Almanac from the woods of Brooklyn. It's Hunter Donaldson, and that's his name. Don't wear it out, or you'll need to buy him a new one.
Yo, what up? I've changed nothing about my appearance for YouTube only. So don't worry about it.
You
just
look
listening
like
at
you
home.
might be the king of burgers. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, I have a Burger King crown in here, and I'm wearing
Sitting
it now.
on top of your headphones.
That'd be my. I fell off now. That'd be if
You
I was
are-
a Batman villain, I would be the Burger King. That would be a cool villain. Well, kind of product
It'd be like,
placement.
oh, well, you know, he liked burgers, and then he got hit on the head, and now he's half man, half burger.
Oh, I know. I love. That's a good origin story, though. What if it's that he thinks he is the Burger King,
Oh.
and that's what he's a normal guy, but he thinks he's the Burger King.
And he's
That's
like
good.
got some sort of king, like he's got a staff and a crown, and he goes around like killing people and eating burgers.
Yeah, I
He's
mean,
a
the
scientist.
best.
He does an experiment on a burger, and then he injects himself with burger DNA, and he becomes half man, half burger.
Oh,
yeah, I
he's
like
like,
that.
okay, so he's working
Like a
for like
Doc
Beyond
Connors.
Burger or something, trying to create a fake burger because he loves burgers so much, but he's trying to like cut back on saturated fats or something, and he actually
Right.
steps in the way of the laser that injects burger DNA into soybeans, and then he becomes. This is a very good comic book.
It's a really
don't
good
hate
comic.
this.
Yeah.
I hope somebody out there is writing this down and is going to
And
give us
pencils
all
moving.
the money for it.
Honestly, not one of the worst Batman villains. Like
Yeah,
Batman,
definitely not.
Look, there's
Yeah, I
Condiment
mean,
Man,
with-
right?
with Calendar Man, Condiment Man. Yeah, there's a lot of weird
No, come on,
villains.
Calendar. They found a way to make Calendar Man cool.
Yeah, Calendar
okay?
Man's kind of cool. Yeah, I'll give
Yeah,
you that.
Calendar
Okay,
Man.
but Condiment King.
Nah.
What? I mean, the Joker's the worst, but what? Who are these people you're talking about?
Calendar Man.
the
He's
Batman
obsessed with
villains?
Yeah,
calendar.
tell me about Calendar Man. I have no idea
He
what this
does-
is.
He does things on important calendar days. That's his thing. If it's like
Huh.
if it's St. Patrick's Day, look out, Calendar Man's in town. He's
Man,
obsessed with
this is one of the
dates.
things about comic books that's like so fascinating is that they just made so many of them over the last 50 years
Yeah.
that there probably is a guy who's half burger.
Well,
And
yeah,
I just
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
read it yet, but for sure there's a Burger King
Somewhere
villain
out there,
already.
yeah.
They
Well, so-
tried
okay, so-
that. Yeah,
so-
in the 60s they tried that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
they did everything. So okay, so Condiment King in 1966. Basically, the origin story is that he was a stand-up comedian.
Oh,
who
God.
Oh, sure, of course.
angered the Joker,
Classic.
Alex.
Oh, of course,
Just saying.
Careful,
and who
Alex.
the Joker then kidnapped and brainwashed him into becoming a ridiculous supervillain as vengeance, and he has
Wow.
a condiment.
Oh, so it was the Joker's joke to make him a bad supervillain.
Yeah,
Yes.
which
See,
is
this is-
hilarious because the
this is
Joker's
what-
a bad
Yeah,
supervillain.
that's
Take
actually kind of
that.
fun.
guys,
yeah.
you
This
guys
is
are
what
just
really
tempting
pisses
it.
me
Don't
off
do it.
about like the failed comic to right wing grifter pipeline. It's like
Yeah.
if you're gonna go halfway, you might as well put on a condiment costume and go all the way.
Yeah.
Steven Crowder,
If
you
you
know,
really
like
understood the source material.
yeah, like so many of Steven Crowder's, the Gavin McGinnis, all these people are failed comics who failed
Yeah.
into being right wing grifters, and it's just like go all
Yeah.
the way. Like get a full costume. You already have a bunch of henchmen. You might as well just be a full on.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many there's not as many real life henchmen, but boy, Twitter henchmen,
Yeah.
dime a dozen these days.
They don't get out much though. Here's the other thing though. Does it ever happen the other way where it's like you are a failed right wing grifter and you somehow like, you know what, I got successful enough to become a legitimate comic? And it was
That's
like,
not
boom,
my
I
pipeline.
don't think it
No.
does. For some reason, right-wing grifters have been very unsuccessful at comedy. This is actually like this. I would never actually do this, but there is a world where you review a bunch of like failed right-wing comedy projects. There was like a Fox News version of Saturday Night Live that was called like, or of the Daily Show
Daily
that was
Show,
called
yeah.
the Half Hour News Hour,
Yeah.
which you can tell from the title. It's not going to be a funny show. Like
No.
I've never heard a title of a comedy miss so hard. To be like, oh, I think you kind of get what jokes are, but not entirely. But yeah, I don't. I mean, there is a project about that I am not willing to do. But
I ruin my algorithm with stuff like that. I don't know why I end up watching like what these bozos say. Like the
Yeah,
other
I mean-
day, I heard Steven Crowder say something that I'll never forget, where he was talking about his politics, and he was like, "I'm to the right of Genghis Khan," is something he said. I was like, Steven, those are politics that if you lived them, you would go straight to jail. Like,
I do.
Cool it just a little bit. We believe you, buddy. Like
Look, we all know we're a center con country. We know that. A center Genghis country. That is an incredible quote.
Right of Genghis Khan. Like, what do you mean?
Look, my main problem was that the way he killed 2/3 of the Earth's population felt like it was too redistributive.
Yeah. Like, how conservative are you, Steven? Well, I'm a mass murderer.
Yeah,
like,
right.
That's what? What?
That's so funny. What a wild quote.
Ezra, you are making me imagine a world in which Jordan Peterson is like, I got into stand-up comedy, and like, but he does it kind of like the way Henry Rollins does stand-up comedy. It's like storytelling and kind of loose.
Yeah.
But he is very much like, I have my politics, but I also have my stand-up.
But on the other hand, what is the deal with cabs?
Yeah.
Just general observations.
When you wake up from a medical-induced coma in Russia and you're not quite sure how you got there? We've all been there.
Let's finish up this introduction. In Northern California, he's a stupid corn dog. It's Ezra Fox.
I don't know why that didn't catch on more.
No, that was a great.
This is the one that,
great moment.
Look, there's a lot of iconic things in this movie that get a lot of play. But this was definitely overlooked, where you should absolutely, next time you insult anyone, especially yourself, you look in the mirror and you say, you stupid corn dog.
You stupid corn dog. What are you doing? What a great little moment in this little throwaway moment. All right, so we're going to talk about Batman Returns here in a second, including when it's okay to toss your baby into the river, the hiring process for circus terrorists, whether you can return Batman if you've already cut off the tags, and if there's a better way to clean pleather than licking it. But first, I'd like to start by thanking all of our generous meat buddies. If you want to join them and keep the show limping down the tracks, go to Metreon.com. We really appreciate everybody who donates to the show. And now it's time for segment 1, the news. We've burned most of our news time introducing our names. Ezra, I'm going to need a lightning round from Donut News. What is going on in the Donut-averse?
Oh, God. I think it's just you can still eat Santa's belly. That's it. Let's keep it moving.
That's it. It's Santa. Well, actually, I was going to ask a Santa-related question for you guys up top, which was a thing I've been thinking about this morning, which is about Santa and how Santa is like an actual conspiracy. Like people are like out there searching for like the real conspiracy theory where it's like the government is involved, just a massive number of adults. There are body doubles everywhere. And that is Santa. Like it is the one time where like a third of adults have agreed to work together to lie to you about something.
Yeah. Actually, Alex, it's really, really interesting you said that because I also was thinking about this week and I've kind of like, almost got to the point that like, the conspiracy is so big that there's so many people involved in like the Santa conspiracy that it's almost just easier to believe that like maybe Santa's real. You know what I mean? Like I've almost gone full circle on the Santa thing. Like that's my new approach.
To
is that like
many people.
You're right? There's so many people involved that it's like, okay, Anthony, it's like other conspiracies. It's like, like okay, 100,000 people couldn't have been involved in planning this terrorist thing, and it could be really complicated, or it could just be exactly what they said. And that's like, I'm kind of like that with Santa. Like maybe Santa's just real. Like there's
this thing that happens every year where NORAD does a Santa tracker on their website, which is a group of government scientists creates a fake radar readout for 24 hours to perpetuate this lie. And it's hard not to like hear that and be like, I don't know, maybe the moon's not real or whatever. Another conspiracy theory you want.
Well, also, it makes you upset, because that's our tax dollars right there going to pay for that. And how come Republicans are never trying to cut that one?
Well,
you never hear about it.
Wait a minute. Can we say, what if it's not fake, though? But because it's tax dollars, they have to release it. So they just say that it's a lie, that it's like, oh, no, we made this one 364 days of the year. We're completely honest. But this one we made up. This one we lied about. That's what they want you to think. Because it's actually real.
I love thinking about like a 7-year-old who's like starting to be onto this, and he's got his little tinfoil hat so Santa can't read if he's been naughty or nice, and he's like got his little podcast that's like the truth about the red elf or something like that. That's just like a very passionate. We're gonna get to the bottom of the Santa thing. I think everyone is lying to me.
Oh my
I think
God.
those Santas you see around are body doubles for the real Santa. Like. It's wild that it's the one time I believe that we actually have all worked together to come to perpetuate a lie.
I wish we could work together on better things than this. Like this is not a bad thing, but on something that's legitimately helpful. Like if imagine we put the same effort of like perpetuating Santa stuff into climate change. I feel like we'd be in really good shape.
No, we've done that. We've put a lot of effort as a team into climate change. We're doing an awesome job of
we are
changing
changing that climate.
You have to be clear you were against. I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
No, I mean, that's the thing is if you can figure out a way to like, like make people be passionate about climate change, but also make like an absurd amount of money for the Coca-Cola Corporation. Then I mean that's kind of the thing. That's sort of like the thing that Christmas really does. Is it
this is actually like this is a solid idea, Anthony, because who cares more about climate change than CG polar bears? Like they're losing CG ice floes.
So here's the thing. I think people realize we all understand this level. Like, hey, we don't like it when kids are sad. Let's make them be happy. This is the thing that makes them happy. Cool.
Right.
If the Earth is like a apocalyptic hellscape, kids are also going to be sad. Other stuff is going to go on, but like if we just focus on like the kids will be a little bummed. Like there will be no Santa. Like when it's a hellscape.
Is that true? Is that why? Wait, did we make up Santa to be like, oh, the kids seem sad and this will make them happy? Are you sure it wasn't like
that's why we perpetuate? I don't know why we made it in the first time. That was probably
but the Santa is so tied in with this like surveillance state part. Like Santa is not like you're getting the gifts either way. It doesn't have to be a magic guy. The reason it's a magic guy is because he sees you when your parents are off doing something else. They're looking at their phones, but Santa's still watching, so you have to be good. It's so tied into manipulating their behavior. That I don't know if you could succeed without it. If it was like, climate change is also making my kids be nicer.
One, it's also very good for passing the sort of the buck in terms of responsibility for getting stuff or not. It's very good with that. But that raises an interesting point where like I've never like Santa, and I think the a huge part of why Santa as like a thing has sort of like taken over in the culture and so there is because of like that like even though there's always a lot of bad stuff in this country, there was like that Norman Rockwell Americana, very like classic suburban family in like major cities. Even had this like aesthetic of like Santa made a lot of sense in the last 100 years of American culture. I do wonder going forward when the world is just a constant nightmare hellscape and filled with craziness, a kid's going to believe because when it's the 50s and like everything's pretty much great, there's some other fears and stuff, but like the suburban nuclear family is fine. Right. Santa makes a lot of sense. But I mean, are kids as excited and easy to believe in Santa going forward with like all the chaos and nonsense that's happening?
This is a great question. And so I want to wrap up the segment, I want to kind of put it back to the panel, which is, so Ezra, you're the only one of us with kids currently, and I assume you're not. You never pretended Santa was real with them.
No, this is one of the joys of being Jewish.
Yeah. You were never confronted with this problem.
Well, it's not quite true because there's a little bit like of where it's like you don't want to blow it up for other people one way or the other. I feel like I'm most like agnostic, so it's like I don't want him to like at a point where the kids cannot keep a secret. I don't want them to know that Santa is not real. Like if they figure it out on their own, like once they figure out it's not real and they don't want to believe, that's cool. I just say like, hey, other people might believe. Like let that one be.
This is exactly my concern. So I was thinking about this the other day. If I had a kid right now, I would be like, I would not want to lie about the Santa thing. I think it makes no sense. I think it's got a creepy undercurrent. I also think kids should appreciate where gifts actually come from. I think it's like if it's tied to magic, that's harder to appreciate the value of things. Like, oh, this your aunt and uncle bought you this seems cooler than like, oh, this magic guy gives to everybody.
Just gives it,
But I have my
you
biggest
want your
fear,
kids to know. I did a corporate gig to a bunch of unexcited, fucking shitty staff members.
I have been on Zoom every hour of the weekday for the last 2 weeks doing Christmas shows for companies that are still distributed. I want a kid to know that's what went into this gift.
I got told that they enjoyed my funny little bits. Fuck that lady. And I got you this money.
This is exactly right. I mean, but my biggest fear is because I feel like any kid that has got me around is already going to be such a poor weirdo, such an unfortunate weird kid, that the idea that they're also the kid who's walking around first grade being like, not real, dad says it's not real, is
that's
just so terrifying to me.
You do not want that vibe. But I feel like Santa doesn't really make sense anymore because we have so much access. Like, I feel like if you had a kid now, I mean, I'm just guessing, I just feel like eventually the kid's going to start Like, even if they believed in Santa, eventually they're gonna be like, why doesn't Santa have a TikTok? Like, why can I not interact with Santa's
That's such a good point.
content?
Why is he not more accessible on social?
Yeah. Like, the idea of like some sort of
That's such a
hidden
good point.
wizard doesn't really make sense. We get access to famous people.
That's so
part of
true.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, the idea that's like, oh yeah, Brad Pitt's tweeting, but Santa's too. He doesn't feel like it.
No, Santa's secret. Like,
He doesn't
what?
even. Okay, well then have his elves run his account. No one runs their own account.
Yeah, they don't have Wi-Fi at the North Pole. Like,
It's
I don't
not
understand.
the real Windy doing the Windy's account. Like, just have yeah.
Wait, it's not?
I'm just gonna do when I plan to have kids. I want to kind of go the opposite way, and I want to create like the Santa universe, right? Like, so
sure.
any movie that involves Santa, that's canon. That's actually what happened. Santa died in 1994 when he fell off this kid's roof and got replaced by the second Santa. In
Who was cool for a
93,
while and then became a weird anti-woke right-wing Santa in the new show.
In 1993, Santa got kidnapped and replaced by Jack the Pumpkin King.
Yes.
And there was a really weird
Right,
Christmas for
yeah.
everybody. An elf of his came to New York in the early 2000s and changed a bunch of people's minds.
Okay,
That's
so
like
really-
that's the
so-
Santa I want, you know.
So weird. Okay, so perfect. This is perfect. I want to wrap on this. I'll tell you a quick story about that. So I have one of these an obsession that I have is with Christmas demons. A lot of cultures have a Christmas demon.
Yeah,
like
really fun.
Krampus.
Yeah, Krampus or whatever. And I love the idea that you have the bad holiday lie for the good one. There's a lot of them that are like the Netherlands tradition that my mom grew up with is like, oh, St. Nicholas, Sinterklaas will bring you presents, but if you're bad, this racist caricature will beat you up, put you in a bag, and take you to Spain.
Yeah.
And that's problematic that he's in blackface. But the part where there's just an evil guy who will beat you up and take you to Spain if you're bad, that's so much better than a lump of coal. Like, what kid now is worried about getting coal? They don't even comprehend what coal is, right? I love a Christmas demon, right? So I was working for this radio show and I was pitching sketches about how much I loved this Krampus character, or just some generic version like Killy the Christmas Demon or whatever. And there was a guy working for the show at the time we've talked to on the show now, who was a former Simpsons writer, Bill Oakley, and he wrote a movie about Krampus that he sold successfully. That the company that bought it took 3 scenes and 2 jokes and put them into the Santa Claus 3 and got rid of the rest of the movie.
Oh
Like,
my
he had
God.
a movie about Krampus that was like he thought was on the road to getting made, and they took it and destroyed it and put it into that film of all movies to have your content go into.
So messed up.
And that's what is what Jack Frost fighting Tim Allen or whatever. That's partly Bill Oakley's influence. Friend of the show, Bill Oakley. Anyway, this is my Killy the Christmas Demon story. Anyway, isn't that wild?
That's
wild.
really wild.
That's Hollywood.
All right, that is Hollywood, baby. All right, let's get into segment 2, the game.
Speaking of Hollywood.
Yeah, it's a movie. It's time for segment 2. This week, we're watching Batman Returns, the 1992 American superhero film directed by Tim Burton and written by Daniel Waters, who you guys may also know as one of the writers of The Heathers and Demolition Man. This is in the Detective Comics universe and is the sequel to Batman from 1989, which we also watched on the show, is the second installment of 4 in the 1989 to 1997 Batman series. 4, right?
I mean, yeah, I mean, like, it's an interesting series because they all technically don't ever like retcon each other, but the 4 Batman movies, the 2 Tim Burton ones, are definitely like have a direct sequels, and then they kind of become like a quasi different series in the Schumacher ones.
Everybody leaves for the next one when they got Val Kilmer and Batman nipples. That was a whole separate thing. But this is in that, you guys may remember the 90s were this transition period between Batman being fun and silly and then Batman being grumpy and insufferable. This is that middle period where he's a little of both.
I mean, I mentioned this a lot in the Batman 89 movie, but like, especially growing up, you know, I think a lot of people, and I, you know, love these movies because they were gritty and dark, but watching these now, especially compared to like the modern Batman movie that came out this year, like this movie is basically the Adam West show in terms of campiness.
It's definitely a little bit it's a little different, but yeah, exactly. It's still got a heavy influence of the one true Batman, Adam West.
The first one is very campy, but this one is incredibly. I mean, the the whole opening sequence with this box that's big, but it's not that big. But the montage of people on motorcycles coming out of it,
Well, they're
and people
clowns,
flying.
Anthony. That's how they do it.
Yeah, it's just so ridiculous and campy and over the top. The penguin funeral at the end. I mean, this
so
movie
good.
is
so good.
It's very ridiculous.
so wild.
The campy parts. Yeah, this is one of the most insane movies we watched for the show, and I am looking forward to talking about it. It's starring Danny DeVito, who was also in the Virgin Suicides last week, as you may recall. Also starring Michelle Pfeiffer, Christopher Walken as kind of a boring character, and a brief cameo from Michael Keaton as Batman.
Yes, it's a good get for them.
Yeah, it's amazing they were able to put him into that final scene so that he had some stage time. Like you mentioned with the first one in this series, this is one of this movie's greatest strengths, is that it's not that much Batman in it, because it's not the most interesting part of the series.
I do love. I mean, I think I probably talked about this a lot. Like, we have talked about this movie before, so I don't want to repeat myself too much. But like, just the choices they make in this movie, like when they introduce Michael Keaton, they introduce him in this incredibly iconic sequence of like the bat signal goes off and this huge elaborate contraption of reflecting lights go to shine through in his living room, and it's this great shot when it stands up. But if you think about like what that shot implies, it implies that's how he spends his evenings when he's not
just staring
Batman.
into the middle
Just
distance,
sitting
waiting
in
for
the
the bat
dark.
signal.
He
Dark
can't
room.
read anything.
Yeah.
He's not watching television. He just sits in the dark like a statue, and then a light hits him right in his eyes.
Anybody who's been on call knows you can't really get into whatever you're supposed to be doing because the phone might ring at any moment. He's a doctor in the on-call room where he's like trying to get a few minutes of sleep, but knows at any second they're going to be like, emergency on 4.
Right.
He can't focus.
He's a more of a spree murderer who with the weird sexual hangups in this one, which is a big part of why I like this one. Like the first movie is much more conventional, and they obviously had a lot of control over Tim Burton. They basically let him do whatever he wanted. And he made this very interesting movie about weird sex fetishes, and
then the movie didn't do great, and they were like, "Oops." And then Tim didn't make any more Batman movies.
Right.
Yeah.
They took it away, and it's too bad because as you guys know, this is the worst genre of film. Superheroes is the worst.
Batman specifically.
But I do well, and Batman is like one of the least annoying of the Batman of the superhero characters, and this is the version of superheroes I would watch if it was Tim Burton, some practical effects, real penguins next to animatronic penguins. Like this is a series. I would still like comic book movies where they're like
It'd be a cool alternate universe where this is the thing that spawned it. Like this was the Iron Man, and like everyone just was like, look, we're just gonna give it auteur a whole bunch of money and say hands off, and like it's all gonna be like just wild, them living out
Tim
whatever.
Burton's wild Superman in the same Detective Comics universe.
Crazy.
Well, I want
we
a
talked
different
about
every
this.
person.
Yeah, we talked about this on the Batman episode, I'm pretty sure. But the idea that like it's crazy that Hollywood saw Batman's success and were like, oh, it's not comic book movies people like, it's detective stories that with like a gothic aesthetic. It's old comic serials. That's what they want. That in the wake of Batman, they didn't make a bunch of superhero movies. They made Dick Tracy, The Phantom, The Shadow.
The Shadow.
Do you like any of those? Are any of those fun?
No, those are all bad. Dick Tracy's kind of cool.
I like
Dick
The Shadow.
I think they're all actually a little bit cool, but you have to be willing to sit with the stinkiness.
I mean,
of
The
them.
Rocketeer is another one that's probably the
that
best
one's cool.
of that batch. And Dick Tracy is just such a wild fever dream of a movie that it's.
I mean,
pretty cool.
This is the thing that I like. I'm not going to tell anybody I think this is a great movie, but it is the fever dream of this movie is very fun for me. Before I summarize, I just want to let you know also you can stream this currently on HBO Max, and this was picked by Ezra. Ezra, why did you pick Batman Returns?
I think for chaos.
Mm.
Yeah. I thought this is the most interesting thing move-wise for the game, and also this I was something I never got to see. I wasn't old enough when it came out. Never got to it, and I liked the pitch. This is a fun one.
As a man who oozes black sludge out of your mouth. It's nice to finally see yourself represented on screen.
Whenever he
Not
talks,
know my name.
just drips down his chin.
I love that.
That
just
means
the
there's somebody with like
insanity.
a turkey baster
Yeah.
full of non-toxic
Oh
black
my
sludge
God.
that
He's a
he goes
Scooby
to
boy.
Danny between shots and squirts some in his mouth
I mean,
so it would
talk
ooze out.
about
Hey,
a hat
hey,
on
Danny,
a
love
hat.
it. Love what you're doing, Danny,
Yeah.
but we need a little more goop in the mouth, okay? Sorry,
Yeah,
we got to do
like-
that one again.
Imagine getting to the penguin as he is in this movie. That's extreme look, especially when he's in the onesie with the flipper
Yeah.
hands
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
and the makeup, and just being like, it just
and the
needs
fat ass.
ooze. It needs ooze. He needs
Yeah, a
this,
little
this
ooze
makes
here.
one of the things that one of my big takeaways from this movie is just how sad I am about Tim Burton getting access to computers, because I don't like a lot of his new CG movies. I feel like they're kind of boring and just weird cartoons, and this is when I enjoy Tim Burton's world, where it's like I would live in Tim Burton's sewer system. It's like just the way he built that ride was like, what a cool brick sewer system to live in. Like everything he does is so fun and weird that it's like Alice in Wonderland, a story that is a fever dream. Literally, he made it not as interesting as Batman, and that's too bad.
My wife and I started watching Wednesday on Netflix. The Wednesday Addams Riverdale-esque teen directed show, and Tim Burton did the first 4 episodes. And it's honestly my favorite thing Tim Burton has done in like 15
I've been watching
years.
it too. I really like it.
Yeah, I really enjoy it, and his directing style has a lot of flair. It's like the most like awake and kind of alert he's there. It's like an okay show, buoyed by an incredible lead performance. Like the girl playing Wednesday, Jenny Ortega, is incredible. It's one of my favorite performances of this year. But yeah, the show's all right. But yeah, Tim Burton, actually, if you want to see like Tim Burton feeling like awake and alert and like having fun on a set,
That's great.
Wednesday's pretty good.
All right. Well, now we're going to go from Wednesday back to Batman. We're going to return to Batman Returns for the micro summary, my patented 5-point summary of exactly what happened in this movie. Everyone agrees there is no dispute. Okay. Starting out, there's something happened to Oswald Cobblepot in utero, causing him to be born with fused digits on both hands into penguin claws. And from the minute he was born, the ability and desire to eat cats whole.
Something penguins are famous for.
So, classic penguin behavior.
You ever seen a cat in the
baby cage and just inhaling a cat?
You ever seen a cat in Antarctica? Huh?
I
don't think so.
It's a
bucket of
fish.
penguins.
Yeah, those penguins. And obviously Oswald's parents don't like this about him, so they do what any normal family would do. They toss him into the river in a black basket like a cursed Moses.
Any normal cigarette holder, like monocle family.
The classic monocle parents. They evil Moses him into the river, where he floats through the sewer systems of New York into an abandoned zoo with a somehow thriving mixed penguin population of both African and emperor penguins. And then in a real nature versus nurture moment, Oswald grows up to be very penguin-like himself, taking after his parents, his adopted parents, in that he is motivated at any moment to go wherever you want him to by offering him a bucket of fish. He's very fish motivated. And then he's unpenguin-like in some other ways, in that he doesn't seem that set on monogamy, and also he runs a gang of circus-themed terrorists.
That one. Okay, if I'm going to gripe about anything, I did not like that we went back to back on basically clown goons.
Well, we did, but what I liked about this one, and it feels like almost maybe an apology for the first movie, is they were like, let's include a 4-second scene of where the clown goons came from. Because if you remember, one of the things I could not stop talking about last time was like, what was the recruiting system?
Where did
these terrorist clowns?
They were the mob. He took control of the mob and said, "Guys, there's a new dress code. Everyone has to wear the black jackets."
So I guess it wasn't recruiting clowns. Yeah. It was convincing the mob to wear full grease paint on their faces when they do crimes.
And now they just do that. Yeah. So the penguin didn't make them
they were an
dress
evil
up like
circus that
penguin.
kidnapped children, as mentioned in a brief news article on Microfiche that Batman finds and is like, oh, that's why they're terrorists.
And you look at just like, it's, the cultural Overton window of like, once the Joker broke through that glass ceiling, right? It's just very cool to do it at a certain point,
Well, and this is the thing that I like about the silly version of Batman, and I like about Tim Burton's vision of it, is everybody across the country is dedicated to theme. And I just love that so much. Like, if you're going to be penguin themed, you're going to do penguin shit. And if you're clown themed, you're going to do clown shit. And if you're bat themed, you're going to do. Because the idea that you are like, I am going to save people, I'm going to be this fascist anti-crime figure. I will never throw a ninja star without first painstakingly building small bat wings onto the ninja star. I'm gonna laser etch my bat logo on every piece of tech I ever create. Like, that is the Batman universe, is the dedication to theme above all else.
Right. All you are is your animal symbol that you've chosen for yourself.
It's your most important quality.
It makes sense. It makes sense. I feel like Tim Burton is almost taking it a little too far, though. This is not a negative. Actually, it's great that he's taking it too far.
Yeah.
But can you imagine if you were like a comic book writer and you'd worked on like a Penguin comic, and then like this movie comes out and you're like, wait, this is incorrect. This is not.
Is this not what happens?
This is different. Is just a guy that looks a little bit. He's kind of short. He's just a kind of short guy who is a mobster.
No kidding.
And Tim Burton was like, "Oh, he's a penguin, right? Like he's a penguin. He eats fish and he waddles around." And it's like,
this was a bad miss from the writers at Detective Comics. They could have made Penguin a penguin all along.
I mean, the thing is, they've had different versions of the character, but think of like the '60s Batman, the Burgess Meredith Penguin, right? He's just a mobster. Like, they make a reference to it when he is coming down to meet the people running the campaign, and they're like, "Oh, let's pay you back how you used to be," and they put the cigarette holder in his mouth.
Right.
Yeah. That is a reference to the '60s TV show, right?
Yeah, he does the like tie-dye thing and goes,
Oh yeah, because he was like, he had that, and then he was just wearing a purple top hat all the time. Was his theme.
Right.
Yeah, he's mostly
not,
just
like, Tim Burton is like, no, he's like an actual penguin.
No, he's raised by penguins. He was penguin-shaped birth defects. He desperately wants to eat a fish at any moment. So that's all happened. This is all set up. This is the first few seconds.
He's horny as hell.
He's also extremely horny. Although penguins, that's not how emperor penguins are, right? They like made for life. But this one, although penguins are also one of the few species we've seen that practices prostitution in the wild. Fun fact. Did you know that? Do you know that about
I didn't know that.
So, because penguins really like, they make nests out of little rocks, and there's like better and worse rocks, and some rocks are further away to go. And a penguin who's building a nest and like rocks are too far away will go up to another penguin with rocks and have sex with that penguin, and then take the rocks in exchange and go build their nest with it. Anyway, so that's penguin fact. Anyway,
how many rocks do you need for this? Sorry.
Are you trying to fuck a penguin, Ez?
I just want to know I'm trying to sell rocks to penguins.
What's the rate in rocks?
I'm trying to sell rocks to penguins. That's the smart move, obviously.
But they pay you in penguin sex.
No. I bet they get
he's
fish.
Saying sell the rocks to the Johns.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
And then they trade them for that,
Right. Oh, interesting. I feel like a penguin's gonna have sex with you. Anyway, meanwhile, so this is all background.
I'll get someone else to do it.
Here's what's happening. Meanwhile, is that there's a rich guy, played by Christopher Walken, normal guy, who's just trying to make an anti-power plant that takes power off the grid because, and I think this is the actual motivation, he genuinely loves his dumb son.
Yeah.
He just really wants to set up a legacy, even if it's evil, for his dumb son, who also loves him. And so he teams up.
He's aware that he has like a nuclear-powered failed son. And if he does not cushion him as much as he can, everything. The second his hand is off the wheel, his son's going to destroy everything. So he needs to build as much legacy as he can.
But he genuinely gives up his life in the end of the movie for his dumb son.
Yeah, he loves his son.
His dumb son early in the movie literally is willing to die to save his dad's life, and that never turns into a joke or anything. This is just, these two characters are both genuinely love each other and are willing to die for the other one.
Yeah, it's one of those great things about like early Tim Burton movies is that like Tim Burton's always been one of those people that you feel like he has like so many ideas, but he doesn't really have like a way to tie them together. But you can definitely see that he's just like firstborn sons. That is a theme in this movie.
Right.
So
Moses,
Bruce Wayne is the firstborn son. Moses, this prodigal son who gets sent away. The Penguin's plot involves killing firstborn sons for some reason. Max, he's one of the bad guys, so he has to have a firstborn son, and he has to really love him. He's the opposite. Like, it doesn't really tie into anything, but like
But he
that
believes
thing
it.
that
It's
Tim Burton
important.
would just like he would like want like hit on these themes in his movies. And you can see like that's a big part of like how he builds a film, especially like this that had like so many writers and was like, essentially being like built as the train was moving
Yeah.
and like having to figure it out real fast.
Well, so what happens is the rich guy teams up with his dumb son, or he wants to help his dumb son. So he teams up with the penguin and tries
Yeah.
to install the Penguin Man as the new mayor, even though, and he's not deterred by this fact, there is no election. You're
Yeah, I
not
love
running
that.
for an office.
I love
Nope.
that. It's completely unnecessary for them to bring that up, by the way.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Why would you specifically mention the election that just happened last month when you could just be running for mayor?
Well,
That's
and
such a
it's not
funny.
like I'm going to be like, whoa, elections are in November in Gotham. Like, I don't have, I don't know the rules.
Right, because it's Christmas themed, so they couldn't go like, it's next November, so it's a year out. We're running for mayor now.
Oh, it's just a long mayoral campaign, though.
I mean, yeah, it is also. It's like
Right,
it's
God,
the
this is
show-
a made up. This is a magic world. Elections are in March. How hard is this?
Yeah, whatever.
That's disbelief. Don't break it, Alex. All
Yeah.
right, like that's not what,
Well, and I like it to go. It's a very like that's the power of Max Shrek, right?
Yeah.
Like that
Right.
is the
Right.
and like especially like I believe this is something we talked about last time we talked about it too. But like the thing with like so like this was originally supposed to be Billy D. Williams, right? Like this movie.
Oh, yeah, right.
Two-Face was supposed to be the Max Shrek character. Billy D. Williams was in the first one.
How would that have even worked, though? I don't understand what how his character would have been fulfilling that
He would have
role.
been
Well,
just
we
a
just didn't
corrupt-
have enough villains.
He would have
Yeah,
been a
alright.
corrupt DA working for someone to probably build the power plant. So he wants to
Okay.
get the Penguin made mayor. And then at the end, he gets turned. And that's why Batman Forever opens with Two-Face being a villain, right? Because like
Right.
this movie is supposed to set that up. But, Hollywood being racist. It's funny, like an executive was like, oh, great, we can get Billy D. Williams and Batman. That's awesome. And then it was like, wait, I'm supposed to make toys of him? Fuck you. Absolutely not. Get me Christopher Walken.
Jeez.
It's absurd that they didn't go with that.
That is crazy. Okay, so now this rich man, we're still a third of the way through the movie.
Yeah,
This
that's
rich
true.
man, he also has an assistant, and this assistant is just an exhaustingly single cat lady who's bumbling through her life, bumbling through her job, bumbling into the secret power plant plans, and then telling her boss that she knows all of his dirty secrets. So he is forced to push her out of a window where she hits her head in the very specific part. Some of you know about pressure points. There's a very specific part of your head that if you hit it, instead of killing you, it gives you martial arts training and a dedication to making your own clothes.
Yeah.
And that's what happens to her. Also, a
You
cat
gotta-
kisses
you gotta
her on
get
the
licked
mouth while
by
sitting
cats.
there.
Yeah, I think there was important cat licking and transference of cat souls.
Yeah.
There was a cat kisses her on the mouth, transfers its soul so that
That
she
was
wakes up from her concussion, and her first thought is to cut a pleather jacket into pieces, sew it together with wire to make a cat suit, and then go around doing both good things and bad.
Her first instinct is to create one of my favorite scenes in movie history. I think one of the most iconic sequences of the 90s is the Catwoman transformation sequence. When she,
Absolutely.
like, everything about it, the fact that they set it up perfectly earlier, and then it's like a recreation, but this twisted mirror, the
Mhm.
hello there turning into hell here.
Mhm.
Everything
Mhm.
about that sequence, the Danny Elfman score firing on all cylinders,
Right.
Mhm.
Michelle Pfeiffer's incredible performance. It's such a
Well,
great
it's so good,
sequence.
and what I love about this is that Catwoman is like, this movie already has a villain, already has two villains. You're not really needing another villain at this point. You've already got one Batman, so you don't really need a hero at this point. And they're like, let's add another character that is just an agent of chaos, but also kind of Batman wants to fuck her. Like that's
Honestly,
like.
Catwoman, though, has more of an arc in this movie than Batman does.
Oh, yeah.
If anything, Catwoman is almost your stand-in protagonist because Batman isn't going to... I don't know. Batman's just going to do normal Batman stuff in this movie and just kind of be Batman, the force of nature, not Batman, the main character.
Yeah. She's definitely the most interesting part of this movie. I do like that when she fights Batman, they are a pretty even match, and he trained as a martial artist since he was a child, and she hit her head yesterday, and that is what ties you.
Oh, but cats gave her magic powers. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what they were suggesting.
They did. It's sort of like that. What was that movie where the kid breaks his arm and becomes the best pitcher in
Rookie of the
Major
Year.
League?
Yeah.
It's like Rookie of the Year martial artist is what happens to her, where she hits her head and becomes a judo master.
We should have more of this.
You want
Look,
more of
this
this? More
is-
kids falling and getting superpowers?
This
Yes,
is
please.
a character who 80% of the time she cartwheels in and out of scenes, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
there's like
Yeah.
She does
very
a lot.
little
She doesn't cartwheel a little bit. She
Yeah.
cartwheels a lot.
in and out of like so many
It's
sequences.
a big part of her personality. But I do like, because like Penguin, we got his origin story, and it was since he was a baby. It was his whole life led him to be this Penguin Man, and we didn't get it in these movies. But Batman's story starts when he is a kid, and he has to go through all of this. And her story started yesterday.
Well, and I mean,
She
we don't
became
really
Catwoman yesterday.
we don't really know what Selena Kyle was doing before she took this job. She is kind of a blank slate. She could
true.
have taken that. And when you're viewing this movie through like literal lenses, which is you're supposed to kind of view this movie more through like, look, some perverts like Batman and Penguin take years to foster and grow.
Yeah.
And some people are just normal people and they have something happen and it just triggers a sexual awakening in you and you become a different person,
Blatant
right?
pervert.
Well,
Basically.
yeah, I mean,
was there all along.
And look, I'm not saying that in a bad way. Look, we're all perverts. This is a movie about like some of us are perverts who have been training since we were young to be this way. And like I said, some of us just have shit happen to us.
Some of
and all
us
of a sudden-
were straight ahead until a cat kissed us on the mouth, and we were like, "Oh no, I'm a cat daddy."
Look,
She
yeah, it's just
absolutely is though Rookie of the Year, right? She is Rookie of the Year too. This is like she isn't to go on the scene so early is impressive. I think we should all just applaud Selena Kyle and her transformation.
I think so. I think it's an incredible job. So then now our characters in place, the rich guy, Penguin Man, and Cat Lady, variously work together and fight against each other. And then in just fulfilling his mission as fucked up Moses, Penguin Man decides to kill everybody's firstborn son. But then at the last minute, a new character, some sort of bat man, he shows up and stops them. And that's the movie.
Yeah, and a mistletoe can be deadly if you eat it. But a kiss can be even deadlier if you mean it.
I don't think that part's true.
Well,
I do
what
feel
happened? What happened when she kissed the dude at the end with all the electricity? That was very deadly.
That's true. She did fulfill the deadly kiss. I think that the less the kiss and more the electric generator she was holding was doing the heavy lifting in that.
It's hard to know. No one can tell.
If she had said, okay, so if she said mistletoe is deadly if you eat it, and she said a kiss can be deadly if you're holding 50,000 gigawatts of power in your other hand and you're wet, like that would have been a better completion of the rhyme.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, they should have.
Again, literal. Think of it through perverts. Kissing can be much more deadly.
That's true. That's true. I mean, literally, a cat kissed her and ruined her life, or made it better.
This movie, I think, is like it's much more wobbly. It's not as a it's not as an overall watchable good movie as I even think the first Tim Burton's Batman movie is. But this one, there's just like even beyond like action scenes or funny moments, just like the creation of Catwoman, the dance masquerade scene at the end, like the whole mistletoe confrontation is like a sequence that again, like, just that score and the music that's playing, Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Keaton's performance are both so good.
One of my favorite moments is the car chase thing where the clown terrorists plant a control device in the Batmobile so that Penguin can drive it, but he builds like one of those grocery store cars that you put a quarter and it shakes. He builds one of those that is bat themed, including a bat steering wheel that he uses to drive. Like he could have just done that with a joystick and a keyboard.
Thing exists now. It didn't then, but there is like that Batman like driving machine thing that is a real good time.
They made that, and that for that purpose. And that scene is just so like every scene of this movie is so bonkers. I agree with you. Everything you're saying, Anthony, is obviously right. I think the bonkersness makes it better because when these movies take themselves seriously is when I cannot stomach them. And this, like the Penguins strapped to rockets that walk out into the world, and some of them real penguins. He hired a lot of real penguins for this movie. But then
and he
they
saw
have
so
little
many
metal
more
hats,
on tape,
and the
before
penguins
they
hats,
cast them. It was a real.
Yes.
He spent a lot of time looking at penguin tapes.
Yeah.
Now it would just be all penguin self tapes, but back then you had to bring all the penguins in for the
all had to come
auditions. It was
in.
exhausting.
This is the sort of the joy of like an everything bagel kind of movie is like you can't point to any element and say like this doesn't belong. I don't know what they're thinking. Like they've given themselves such a wide charter with this. There's nothing that wouldn't fit.
It
This
really is an
movie-
everything bagel movie. That's such a
I
good.
mean-
That's such a great description.
It's an everything bagel movie, and it's also a you fucking made Batman movie. Like there is just no like the first one was such a hit. It was so successful, right? And so like really being like that he wants to put rockets on penguins. Dude, do you know how much money Batman made? Just go with it.
Just let him
Just
do it.
trust
Yeah.
Well,
Let
I
him do it.
didn't even finish. So they're penguins wearing backpacks with rockets and little hats, and when you arm the missiles, a little sight thing clicks down over
Oh
the
my
penguin's
God,
eye
yeah.
before
This
the rocket, as if
really
the
good.
penguin had some control over the rocket. There was a little the prop department had to build a little mechanism where it goes shink over the penguin's eye. It was
Again, I want to
Say
remind
his
everyone
name.
at this point, in no way are these penguin elements based off the character from DC Comics.
that's
Like,
so wild.
They're just like penguins, right?
you
as
had
many
that
penguin
penguin.
things as we could come up with. That's what the penguin is, right?
Also, more seasoning on this everything bagel. So he lives in this abandoned zoo where the penguins are still thriving and are somewhat human creatures. There is a gondola system in the zoo where you ride in a giant duck. And so when the penguin goes out, he has a duck boat that is a duck. So it can be in the water and it can also drive up on land with wheels, but he's just in a practical 10-foot duck car whenever he goes around. Like they have that duck car somewhere in a sound lot garage. That is absolutely incredible, that duck car.
Love it. Love it.
Everything is so wild. Everything. It's just so bonkers.
And I think this movie is more important than the first one because like there's, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but this is what sexuality is to me, is just Batman Returns. That's my entire sexuality. It's just Batman Returns. And I think it's for a lot of people too. There's nothing in the original Batman as important as when Michelle Pfeiffer licks Michael Keaton's face in the bat costume. That's the most important thing that ever happened in cinema for a whole generation of people.
The entire sequence with her in the store, actually doing, that thing where she whips the heads off?
Yeah.
That's actually her doing that in one take.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I heard that. Yeah. Michelle Pfeiffer learned how to do the whip trick and nailed it on the first take for that.
But
I learned it really quick. I learned that because we did a pod crawl about the 90s Batmans like 10 years ago, 7 years ago, whatever.
Who can say?
You might not even been there. But anyway, the show that did this movie talked a lot about that, and so I learned it from that. And I don't remember what that was.
But yeah, when she is like in the store and she does that thing when she like holsters the whip essentially around herself in this one cool movement.
Yeah,
that's
tremendous.
That entire sequence is just filled with like such iconic moments. It's just great.
Okay, so here's wait, I want to put a bow on this point. I want to say in an alternate universe where Batman Returns does not exist, the world is like a whole 10% less perverted. That's what I mean. Ultimately, that's what Batman Returns legacy is that it made the entire planet 10% more perverted than it was. And that's remarkable. That's way more impressive than anything the original Batman did.
Yeah. The other podcast that talked about this was our friends Bonnie and Maud, which is a show that does not exist anymore. But they were doing it was a feminist movie podcast that talked a lot about Catwoman in this. I will say, as far as your thing about perversion, I will just say when she licks Batman's face, I'm like, wow, this is gross. This is a real pervert movie. But when she licks clean her pleather,
that was a tricky one to.
I was like, I might never be horny again. I might be done. I think maybe I've completed my journey.
What about when an entire bird flies out of her mouth? How did that feel?
I mean, this was a sexual asleepening for me. I think I just completely finished.
Again, you only say that through 2020 eyes, right? You have to go back to what it was like in '92.
Oh, I'm so glad I'm not 16 anymore.
What would the internet be without Batman Returns? I don't even think it would be. I don't even think it would exist.
I
what would
think
be
to
the point
kind
of
of compliment on that point. I mean, the fact that this is also not just a movie that is like very like sexy. It also like subtextual. It's so much about sexual hangups and people and. For
Absolutely.
a genre, the superhero genre, which is something that is so sexless. Like, and I'm not like Alex. I actually like a lot of superhero movies, but there is so little interest in like that part of the human condition, or like that part
it's
of
purely
society
about militaries and bloodless war. There's very little time to have any love.
No, absolutely. And in the MCU, they like get rid of love interest characters. Like they'll introduce one and they won't really even give them anything interesting to do. Yeah. And then it's like, anyways, they're gone now because that was just getting in the way, you know?
And it's like people have kids off screen, and it's like, I mean, I know they fucked to make that kid. I think that's how it works in this universe, but I don't know because you never talk about it or show any kind of intimacy. It's the way this movie deals with like just little things like them making out on the couch and having like these scars, and it's like a very obvious metaphor, but it's like
actually
when you're making out with someone new, you have those like danger spots that you're always scared you're gonna bump against about revealing too much of yourself or letting them know something. Or like,
just like anytime you're making out with somebody new, those scars were caused by that person the night before, and neither of you realize it because you can't talk about it.
You know,
I think I literally have been in a situation kind of like that with a metaphorical scar they caused
me last night.
No, just like this. You said something really mean to me yesterday, and now we're making out, and I'm still a little sore about that. You know, I have been there. You know, but yeah, I mean, in that, like, again, that the way early Tim Burton stuff of like when he makes really personal movies, the way Edward Scissorhands is so obviously like what it was like him being like, I'm a weird little boy. Everything I touch, I cut in Sandy in California.
He really likes the pokey fingers, is what I've learned from this.
Burton. He was just a young boy born with extraordinarily sharp fingernails.
But
and his parents threw him in a river because of it.
That stuff he captures is so good, and
really quick, because we've already talked for a while. A couple of quick things about this. One is we're talking about how expensive this movie is and how it just seems like cost is no object because he made Batman was a huge success. Why is the tree lighting ceremony in central New York attended by 14 people?
Okay, Alex.
Why could they not afford extras when they could afford everything else?
Like, I'm going to show you
more penguins in this town than humans.
Alex, I'm going to show you the line item, like, you know, for hair and makeup, for wardrobe, for penguin extras. You tell me what you want to take away from those in order to get a couple more people. You know what people want.
You're right. Keep the penguins.
We don't need those.
The last time they tried to light the tree, a giant box filled with a bunch of evil clowns.
A good point.
No, this is the first one. The first one was like dozens of people tops at that tree lighting. It was the smallest tree lighting ceremony I've ever seen.
I think if you're in Gotham and you know that if you are in a crowd, something bad is going to happen to you. You've lived in this town for a little bit.
Yeah.
I would definitely avoid a gathering over 7 people in Gotham. Okay, and then there's one thing I just find extremely implausible about this movie, and I know you don't want me to be too literal, Anthony. I buy most of it, but this is a Christmas movie. There's Christmas trees almost every scene. How is it possible to have a Catwoman in a Christmas movie and she never once pulls down a Christmas tree? It doesn't make sense. You can't have a giant cat next to a giant Christmas tree. It's going to want to grab it.
That's a real lost opportunity.
Yeah. Point out.
If she shared the devil's kiss with a cat, she would definitely, and got all of its powers, she would not be able to stop swiping at those baubles.
Yeah, I mean,
it is a Christmas movie. Yeah, most importantly, so that you know that it's not election season.
My wife and I went and got a Christmas tree yesterday. We decorated it, and we watched this movie after we did it. It was wonderful. Very, very nice. It was this is a great Christmas movie, I think, because it reminds you what Christmas is really about. Perverts.
It's just wild to imagine like all the families that went to go see this
Yeah.
movie together. After that first one, such a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
And then, how many people were like in the car on the way home from the theater being like, I think my kid's going to be pretty weird now.
Yeah. I feel like this kid's going to start stealing my dishwashing gloves. Something's happening. Yeah, that's true. That is true. He just made a generation of perverts out of it. But on the other hand, Merry Christmas, Happy Batman. Where are we? Here's an interesting thing. Now we've reached the end of our Batman Returns discussion. It's time to rank this movie in the master quality list, the top 40 greatest films of all time of season 5.
That's a lot of movies.
Actually, it's 39. I don't know how that
5
worked.
to
I might have
15
left
again?
one off. What?
Give me 5 to 15.
Yeah, just one holy second.
Oh.
So before I do, well, I will. This will be evident, but I will also point out Batman from 1989, currently sitting at number 12 on our list of best films of all time. So where are we going to put the 1992 film Batman Returns? You wanted to hear 5 to 15.
Yeah.
Eternal Sunshine, Iron Giant, Cuckoo's Nest, Hero, Good, Bad, Ugly, Virgin Suicides, Happy Together, Batman, Cheerleader, Unforgiven, greatest movie of all time. Apollo 13.
Oh, right. Well, obviously this is better than Apollo 13, but
Yeah, I'm gonna say I think that everything from 5 to Batman is really, really good and like legitimately great movies that I don't feel comfortable pitting Batman Returns ahead of. But
you would be pretty wild for you to choose this ahead of Batman, I think.
That was my thing. I don't know if I would put this ahead of Batman or one behind Batman. But I think in the Christmas spirit, I think there's going to be a Christmas miracle, and I'm going to put Batman Returns one ahead of 1989 Batman.
That's what I was thinking.
Really?
Yeah.
You're both going to give it an 11.
I think just put it right above I think it's my favorite Batman movie, to be honest, because it's the only one that I feel like just has a little more. It just feels more exciting to watch Batman Returns than it does any other Batman movie. I think it's just the wildest the property ever got, and it will never be so again. So you may as well celebrate it.
I definitely think this is the Empire Strikes Back of Batman movies. Ezra, where are you going to put Batman Returns?
I mean, when I was watching this, I was thinking like, style never goes out of style, right? It looks really timeless in this way. It was so much itself, and I think that's really that's what makes this not only a fun like watch because it's bonkers stuff happening, but just the frames are just really fun to look at. I think there's it feels good to look at. As best way I can
every
say.
frame a disgusting painting.
Every frame, what is going on? I feel good about that placement as the notch above the Batman because I think there's a lot of unstyle points. I don't know how I can knock it down for this. It's there's so many people
saying 11 as well.
Yeah, there's so many people having such a good time in this. I guess is what I'd say.
What if we all agreed?
I'm gonna do it. I feel like you guys have talked me into this. I think there's no. I mean, I feel like this is one of the problems. And there's like also serious movies. Like it's harder to be like, oh, this is better than One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or something like that. But also it feels like its wackiness I enjoyed more than like Bowfinger or something else, which I also think is good. So I think we're still in a good category. I think it's probably not as good as Apollo 13, but I can't really be too much of a sticker about that since you guys put that movie in a weird place. So I'm just gonna for them both because I believe it and because it makes the math easier. I'm gonna rank it 11 as well.
Hey.
Wait, 11 and a half as well. So this all slides in as the new number 12. Batman Returns above Batman. Those are 12 and 13. A little Batman rock block. All right, next order of business. Hunter, this was your target movie, which you used a power card to change from the 1981 film Blowout. You changed to Batman Returns. And so you have been awarded 5 big...
Ooh.
Wait, first of all, Ezra, before we do this, what is the current scoreboard?
Okay, and actually, Hunter, I have a pitch for you, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, so as it stands, at the top, Alex 20, Anthony 20, Ezra 16, Hunter 16. We have 2 episodes left, is that right?
We have 2 episodes left.
2 moves left.
Hunter, I think it's more interesting if you give yourself 4 points and give me 1 to have a 3-way tie at 20. Because If I get a chance, if there's a way to make it happen where I can get points off the next one, awesome. But like, I think this is a more fun log jam up top than to have us be at the bottom at 19 and 18.
Okay, so I give myself 4, I give you 1,
Yeah.
and then we're all tied.
Well, you got 3-way
Ezra would
tie,
be-
and then I have sole possession of 4th place.
That's true. But and also you would be you're currently at 16. That would give you 17 points plus because this is a holiday movie. You would get a 1 point bonus, giving you 18.
Oh yeah.
Ah.
Oh, all right, great.
Right? Isn't that
Sure.
the rule we agreed on?
Yeah, we did. I think we agreed on that. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. That sounds great. Just,
All right, so
whatever
you've
makes the
awarded
game as interesting as possible.
1 point to Ezra, 4 points to yourself, and Ezra got a bonus point for the holidays. Ezra, what does that do to our score?
Okay, we got a 3-way tie up top of Alex 20, Anthony 20, Hunter 20, Ezra 18.
All right. Couple of quick orders of business. Oh, first, I wanted to read this comment from YouTube, which you can always watch our show. Usually, watch our show if you want to see our faces and Hunter's hats while we do this at youtube.com/AlexFalcone. Robin, friend of the show, said that Anthony's heel turn last week was one of the most predictable plot points of the season, and these kind of twists don't work when they're so clearly telegraphed. So just want to, I agree. But just a reminder that I should have sole possession of first place, but Anthony is a piece of shit. All right, next up, Hunter.
Yeah.
Having completed your third movie, it's time for you to choose a fourth and, I'm assuming, final target movie.
Okay.
What are you going to pick?
My final target movie is The Prestige.
Ooh. My favorite movie, probably.
Alex's favorite movie.
Been a little while, a little better than The Illusionist. This is the 2006 film, The Prestige. All right, well, I hope we can get there. Okay, next up, the current turn order is, this just in, Alex is playing a power card. Weird. So I'm going to play a power card, which says that I can trade places with any person in the turn order. So I'm going to trade places with Anthony. Anthony's already gone now in round 10, and I get to pick again next.
Wait a minute. I'm going to play a power code. Immediately make it your turn. It's my turn again. I'm back in.
Okay, I'm going to play another power card. Suspend any rule.
Okay, what's
I'm
the
going to
rule?
suspend
What
one
rule
rule.
are you
Anthony doesn't
suspending?
get to play a card.
You're suspending the rule.
Then
What?
Anthony gets to play a card.
Okay.
So wait, I guess you have to suspend the rule that so Anthony can play no cards, or Anthony can play, or no one can play any cards after you. What's the?
Sure, no one can play. I mean, however broad I'm allowed to make it. I don't imagine that
It's
we're
one
going to have
rule.
that many other
But
cards.
the thing is, see, I would argue I've already played the code. So
Okay. Well, so
you
I can
can't-
word this
you can-
differently. Okay, so I
have to
switched
suspend a different
places.
rule.
Okay, so here's how I would read this. Since you did say it first,
Suspending
I agree
rule
with this.
is pretty wide.
So I switched places, which means it would be me and then Hunter as the next two. You're saying immediately make it your turn.
Yeah.
Now, your current place in the turn order would be 1, and then Ezra again? Or would it go you and then me and then Hunter,
No,
the
it
two
would
remaining this
immediately
round?
make it my turn, and then
But
it
who
would be
would be
Hunter,
next?
and you would lose your turn.
Okay,
is the
so I'm
center.
going to suspend the rule that is the turn order
Okay, and you just repick turn order.
and repick the well, no, it goes back to the turn order it was before, which is that it's my turn and then Hunter's turn.
Okay, so here's the thing. I have another code that can undo what you just did. So we can do
Jesus
this,
Christ.
or
This
we
is a
can
poorly
just
designed game.
do my thing. Here's the compromise, Alex. I feel bad. I'm gonna give you all 5 of my points
no.
for the next turn.
Wow.
No.
What?
Yes, that's what I would
Anthony,
do.
No.
Yes,
Anthony, no. Why?
Yeah.
Wait, how does this work?
Oh,
so
wait,
wait,
because
he's gonna pick.
I'm gonna pick to my
Avatar.
movie next, and I'm gonna give you all 5 points. But we have to end this year going back to Pandora, gentlemen.
no,
we
don't.
have
wait,
No.
you don't. So you're
Yes.
saying we can move from this to Avatar?
Yeah.
Who's in this and in Avatar?
Look, I
bet
just
he has a
are we
way.
gonna do this?
Oh, you
Are
have
we
a power
going-
card to move. Okay, so you have a card to move to Avatar from here. And you're saying that instead of doing what I'm doing and what I want to do to end the season, I should let you end the season
And
instead
give you
of
the win.
I give you the
right,
win.
Right. So instead of watching the movie that I like the most, you're saying I should like the movie I like. I should watch the movie I like the least, but in exchange, I also get 5 points. But you could change your mind next week and not give me any points. After
No,
you've proven
No, this is not under duress. This is in the spirit of the holidays.
you were never under duress before. This is you. That you can't say anything right now. Your track record is that 100% of the time you've ruined this for me. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I need to look at my card.
I'm not doing it. I'm suspending the rule of your card being effective. However, we want to figure out the wording to that it's still my turn and Hunter's next. That's the only thing.
That's not how you can't do it. It's my turn. It's my turn no matter what. And my next code makes it so that I can undo.
It's not your turn though, because
Look, this is gone. It's my turn.
So why it's not your turn? You're saying that like it's true.
Hey, wait.
Because we agreed that you did your code, I played mine, making it my turn.
I am suspending. Okay, so I could suspend any number of however we need to word it. The card is OP, so I don't think we can overcome this.
Well, I think so. Also, I think Hunter and so let's say this doesn't even involve Hunter and me. So how about we be I guess a jury on
the arbiter,
since it does not involve Hunter. Let Hunter also vote.
I'm a little confused.
Okay,
but,
so here's what I think happened. If I'm going to parse it out bit by bit. Alex, you did it. Wait, so Anthony, what was the order of events, please? Bit by bit.
Alex played his code.
Okay, just switch places in the lineup with any person, and I switched with Anthony, meaning Anthony goes back to first and completed, I guess.
Why wouldn't you switch with Hunter? Hunter has the one who's picking next, isn't he?
No,
Anthony's picking next.
No, Anthony was next.
Hunter has the final one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So great. So that's happening, and then Anthony, you said my turn next, right? With your card.
Immediately make it your turn.
Okay.
Is what the code.
Then Alex, you had a card.
The rule that the last card played is effective.
Okay, great. And you've done that. So you've done, and then Anthony, you played one more card, which was
new choice. Whatever someone last did is void.
No.
Yeah, that's what my code says. This is how the situation is shaking out. So I can undo a choice. So that's what the code.
So you're
says.
Wait. So you had. Oh my God! There was
your guys'
odds
game.
of you having double cards that would work.
I take no responsibility for this game. But all right. I think the way it's working out kind of sounds like, regardless of whatever your opinion is, it's Anthony's turn. I don't really see how we get around that.
Well, so Ezra's reading originally was that when I said to suspend one rule, it was suspending the rule that any more cards could be played today.
But that's not what you just said.
If you listen to the record, I did agree with Ezra saying that first before I said something else. What I have always maintained is that my rule that is suspended is whatever means that it's my turn next.
Yeah,
that's just creating new things. That's not suspending the rule
from a card that asks for creation.
All right. Let's see. I'm looking at. I'm just.
I can't believe you also had new choice. You fuck. That's too powerful.
Well, it's not my fault.
Most of these cards are worthless. The idea that you not only got to pick first 9 times out of 10, that you also got double perfect power cards.
I'm sorry. First off, picking choice is more of a curse than a win.
Okay,
because you don't get any movement in your picks. You're always forced to. I've been behind the barrel of a gun this whole season, and you've been acting like
you are still the villain here. I have never double crossed anybody. If you go back 40 episodes, I've never once gone back against my word, and you caused all of this to happen. You brought this on yourself. This is a moral response to your personal failing. This was your choice, and I told you I would make it less fun if you did this.
Yeah,
and I have come up with a very good ending to the season, and I think suspend the rule that anybody else can play any cards was the initial interpretation that Ezra offered and that I agreed to. The tape will show.
Yeah, and then if you suspend any more cards, that still leaves it as being my turn.
No, I said no more cards after the card. So any rule. What Ezra said was suspend the rule that anybody can play a card after my card.
Yeah, because I had played one before that.
But I'm suspending that.
That's not how you
And
can't
all future
suspend something
cards.
that's
That
already
was
done.
the reading. That's what Ezra's default reading. That was the natural language reading that
That
Ezra came up
cannot
with.
be right.
This
That
is already
cannot
2
be right.
votes in this favor. So I think it's just up to Hunter, an impartial person who has nothing to do with any of this maneuvering, to decide whether this season ends well or badly.
Well, okay. Hold up. So originally, Alex played a card that said what?
I
Exactly.
swapped places with Anthony.
Swap places with Anthony. Okay. And then Anthony played a card that says what?
Immediately make it your turn.
Okay.
Okay.
And
so
then Alex played a card saying suspend a rule.
Yeah, and what was the phrasing that you locked in on that before you knew what Anthony's?
So, let me. I just want to point this out. You can either play the card to suspend the rule that Anthony's going now, or the card means nobody can play cards anymore, which actually doesn't really help you at all.
Well, the rule that a person could play a card after I have played a card is suspended, meaning that his card is no longer valid and he could never play any more cards.
Oh, so you're saying you can only play one card? I guess. So here's the thing: if that's, you totally could have said, yeah, we can only play one card this turn, right? I guess it would be a thing.
We each only get one card this turn,
right? I think it would be unfair to. It'd be unfair to change your wording, I think, in a way with the knowledge of Anthony's next card, right?
I agree with that. This is what I'm saying. So I was very sloppy, and I just said this card is OP. It's a rank 5. This means I get to go next. And you said, Ezra, your natural reading of it immediately, before we knew what Anthony had, was that no one could play any cards after the card that I had already played. That includes Anthony's. That was what you said.
Oh, I think I
agreed
just
with
said that Anthony doesn't get to play that card, is what I said.
I'm just gonna give you my honest opinion. I don't want to watch Avatar, so this is I actually me and Alex had an idea of 2 movies that we could end the season on. I think they would be a great way to end the show.
It would be really fun. Everybody would agree.
The game designer moderator in me thinks that Alex, your play would have made sense had you played the suspend the rule thing first before anyone else had a chance to respond. You didn't do it that way. So I feel like I got to rule. I rule in Anthony's favor. I think Anthony's thing makes sense.
So, but under what interpretation of my card?
No, here, look. Let's stop doing.
If you had played your card and said, "I suspend." Okay, go ahead.
Stop. Let me just hear. What was your other plan? What am I ruining right now that this is getting so complex in your fighting? Explain to me.
So my choice is next. It's my turn next. We're gonna go travel through Michael Murphy to the film Magnolia. We're going to watch Magnolia. We're going to have a great time. We're going to talk about The Valley. We're going to talk about some excellent performances and a really interesting movie and a director we have not talked about on this show that has some problems but some really good shit. And then we're going to travel from there to Hunter's target movie, The Prestige from 2006, which would give him more than enough points to win, and in exchange for winning the game, I get to watch 2 movies that have meant a lot to me and end the season on a positive note, and no one has to see Avatar.
And let me say this: the things I like about this plan are twofold. First of all, I'm obviously I'm not going to just take the points. It's going to be way more complicated than that.
The deal was you would take all 5 of the points.
Well, no. But we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? It will be. It should be fun.
I'm the only person who can be trusted when it comes to discussing how many points will come out.
I'm just saying anyone could win this game. All right. And the second thing is, I think it's fun. It's the symmetry of us because we opened this whole season with Apollo 13, an Alex movie, and if we end on an Alex movie, I think that's funny.
It's true. Whereas if we watch Avatar next week, it's just the worst, and it's going to be so sad.
I mean, look, I was there. I was doing bread stuff for some of this discussion, so I'm fine if it doesn't count. But because I'm contributing to society here. But I will say it is wild to me that Anthony would have these 2 cards and somehow it not work. And so for me, that seems like that's like him having the cards. It seemed like it happened.
I mean, it's wild that I have the 2 of the strongest cards in the game, and Anthony has the other 2 strongest cards in the game on a redeal last week.
Yeah, I mean, it feels destined that you and I would be at the end of the two spectrums here at the
And
final
a
thing.
person who has been
So here's-
faithful and helpful and a good teammate the entire season against
That's
the
not
biggest shit
true.
turn heel maneuver the season has ever seen.
First off, you started this when you're the one who did the first heel turn to even
Did
get us
not?
in that situation. Yes,
I
that's
did
what
not,
happened.
I never double crossed anybody.
That's exactly what happened. You
I
got
played
all
strong
power
turns on my
code
turn, but I
memory.
never double crossed anybody.
No,
And you
here's what I'm gonna do.
specifically use this power to watch my least favorite movie on as the week before Christmas. That's how you want me to end 2022 as a human being, is watching my least favorite movie I've ever seen instead
Alex,
of my
it's not a
favorite
good year
Yeah.
either.
And one, I just think you guys are missing the forest from the trees here. Here's the thing. I really don't care.
The home tree.
Spent way too much time on this. I thought it would be good content. I'm going to rewatch it before I go see the sequel anyway. It would be topical. But here's what I'm going to do. I'll make you guys a deal. I don't care. We can do your little plan. I didn't know about it. No one explained anything to me. I honestly don't care. This has gotten way too complicated. All right. But here's the one thing I would say. We can do that, but I want to make a backdoor deal. Ezra exclusively gets all the points for the rest of the season.
No, why would Ezra get the points?
Yeah, because
the funniest outcome to this season is Hunter winning.
Hold up.
Because Hunter has the most experience in tabletop games and yet has played everything wrong the entire time, possibly on purpose. He's made intentionally bad choices. So winning is the best outcome.
That's just getting insulting now.
Yeah, that's
I've made a lot of bad decisions too.
To.
Thank you very much.
But you've also made very clever decisions. You've made very strategic decisions. Hunter has been here for just wild, chaotic movies that aren't easy to reach.
Anthony, if you let us do this, I will give the points to Ezra. I will do it.
I wasn't getting any points anyway, so I have no... You can give the points to whoever. I don't give a shit.
I can give the points to
whoever,
and
win.
I will give them to Ezra. There we go. Then Ezra wins.
I think also, if I had played a lot of these games, knowing how powerful the rule suspension card is, there's got to be a way to have phrased that to end Anthony's turn and all debate.
If you had played your rule suspension card first, I think it would have made more sense. If you just said,
actually, no. How about this? No, what? Fuck the Ezra rule things. Here's what I want. I just want both my power codes back. And I want to be able to fuck this up next week if I want to. Because no, fine, Alex. You can just have played your first power code. You can keep your suspended rule bullshit. I'm taking my two codes off the table. I would have won this fair and square. This was my
that.
Hunter and Ezra both agreed it would have been my turn. I am conceding it.
I don't think that's what they think,
because this has gone on for way too long.
Alex.
That's exactly what they think.
No, that's not how they. That's a misrepresentation.
So whatever. I guess it's your turn, Alex. I wonder what movie you're gonna pick next week. Why don't you tell us?
So I still have the suspend a power card.
Yes, we've gone back.
How about this? Let's just house rule that you played it the right way, which would have been to first play a card saying no. I'm suspending the rule that other people can play power cards, and then you played the switch. The switcheroo card.
So smart.
If you had done it that way, I would have just been like, nope.
So I have no cards left, but Anthony has his two fuck cards,
and you also get what you want.
Two fuck cards, and
I don't get to watch the Prestige because Anthony next week can do whatever.
Anthony no. This is perfect because that means next week's episode will be fun because we'll have to do all this again, and then whatever we end up at, whether it be Avatar or the Prestige, it will be fun because now there's drama.
So Anthony will have the ability next week to choose good and pick the Prestige and finish the show off with you getting the points and you getting to decide who wins, essentially. And Anthony has the choice to, a second time in the month of December, choose violence.
Yes.
And somehow
I like this. This is a good cliffhanger. I have one question. Yeah. Alex, how is the nut and dried fruit gift basket?
Oh my God, I forgot. I was going to open it. That was I forgot about our final order of business. So is that done? Are we calling that good?
Yeah, I like
I
this.
think that's good.
Well, he never said what movie we're watching.
Oh,
Magnolia.
we're gonna watch Magnolia.
What? There we go.
It's a
I've
long
heard of it.
movie, but a good time. I mean, there are parts of it that I think are. I have not watched this in a long time, but I did watch this a lot in high school and college, and I thought it was it had an effect on me. I think it was a very good movie.
This is not a 1x watch speed movie for me.
No, that's unfortunate. But man, so many interesting things in it. And I will say the move from Magnolia to The Prestige is through Ricky Jay, who is one of my favorite people of all time. So it would be just the coolest thing if we got to talk about Ricky Jay and The Prestige all at once.
Yeah. And also the move from Batman Returns to Magnolia is through Michael Murphy, who played the mayor of Gotham.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. Okay. So we're watching Magnolia next week. And then last order of business, you guys, this arrived in the mail. So you may recall last week, part of the bullshit after Anthony's heel turn, where he destroyed the game and all that is good. Ez felt guilty and offered to give me an IRL gift basket. It's a box, and it's called Oh Nuts. It's Oh Nuts, but the OH has an exclamation point after it, and the Nuts does not. So it's Oh Nuts, which I think is a very fun brand name.
This was part of the reasons why I bought it.
Oh, it seems like nuts have snuck up on you in some way, and you're not like too upset, but you're just startled, and you're just like, oh, nuts.
Yeah.
So it's also in this bright black and green packaging, which is very exciting.
Unboxing videos are better in audio. I think we can all agree.
I'm describing it for the listeners at home.
No, I know.
Okay, so we have inside these Oh Nuts are a gift box, includes the following sweet decadence: medjool dates, Turkish apricots, salted pistachios, pineapple chunks, California peaches, almonds, plums, pears, papaya, cranberries, dried apple rings, and kiwi slices.
Kiwis look
from
compelling to me. I was
Island.
curious about those. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a beautiful fruit and nut box that I got.
And
I feel lucky to have it. I forgot. I don't care about points. This is real.
So the gift message
are real.
The gift message attached to this was, "Dear Alex, sorry about the point shenanigans. Please enjoy this real life spread of food things from Ezra and probably Hunter and Anthony. Haven't asked them yet. Just gonna assume they're cool with it."
Well, thank you guys that you just found out about. Just to give you guys a good look there. It's
yeah.
Wow,
pretty box.
that's amazing.
A lot of vibrant color, and the kiwis are dried. It said fresh from the Kiwi Island, but these look pretty dried. I've had a dried kiwi.
The Kiwi Island is a nickname for a dehydrator. So,
yeah. That's pretty good.
All right.
I've never had a dehydrated kiwi before.
I was thinking, like, what could I give you that would be that you would not have to eat all in one day if you didn't.
Yeah,
want
shelf stable was a good
that's
call.
That's what I like my gifts to be.
Exactly, it was very good. Well, all right. Well, that's it for our show, you guys. We'll be back next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about Magnolia, which is a movie with a lot of people in it, about one street in North Hollywood. Really exciting. In the Valley. Not exactly North Hollywood, but in the Valley. And we're going to find out how this whole thing ends. We're going to find out who wins, whether it's a good person or a bad person.
Yeah, who knows?
Whether they deserve it or not. And we'll find out how power cards work once and for all. Thanks for being here, Hunter, my buddy.
Yeah, thank you. This was fun.
Just a fun pairing here. Thanks for being here, Anthony Lopez.
This is a fun movie to talk about. Always a lot to say about Batman Returns.
Yeah.
And Ezra Fox, thank you so much for hanging out. You stupid corn dog.
If anyone gets their feeling hurt next week, there might be another gift basket in the future.
I've never done a gift basket. I did buy Hunter a sandwich one time.
You bought me a sandwich.
Remember this? You won. I think we played Name That Sandwich and you won, and I sent you a sandwich in the mail.
You sent me a sandwich. I don't
Actually,
remember
sandwich
this.
was money to buy a sandwich.
No, I sent you a sandwich. I like DoorDashed you or whatever, or Uber Eats
That'd
you a
be
sandwich.
wild to not make that distinction. If you sent someone money and you're like, I sent you a sandwich.
I simply use it for a sandwich.
You sent me $20. I sent you $21.95, the exact price of a sandwich.
You know,
Oh,
Uber Eats you a
I'm an
sandwich one day.
idiot, and I imagined like in the mail, making me a sandwich and then mailed it to me.
That would be very strange. But this is Ezra and I in college radio sent people bagels. This is like a classic part of our radio history together. All right, we'll be back next week for the penultimate episode of season 5. We'll talk to you guys then. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.